Hello and good afternoon. It's a rainy, drizzly day. It's the 1st of February and I found this road as a follow-up to my previous video where the vicar came out to speak to me and asked if I was casing the joint. I've come over to this area of Sheffield, which is the university area. This building is known as the Diamond and that's the School of Music behind it. But I've actually come over to show you this building over here. If you remember me telling you in the history of the churches that there were 3 that were built at the time as Waterloo churches. So they were built to remember and celebrate the fact that Wellington won the Battle of Waterloo. And the 3 churches were St Mary's, which is where we went and met Claire, the vicar. This place is Portobello, as you saw, and it is the site of the Church of St George. And it's a very similar looking building actually. It's one of the Gothic style buildings yet again, and it is in the perpendicular style, as you can see by the clock tower going straight up. But it's a little bit different. You'll find that it's actually in a much better state of repair than the previous one. And whilst it's no longer used, whilst it's no longer used as a church, it is now part of the University of Sheffield and includes a lecture theatre and student living. So you may recall from the previous one that the Church Act of 1818 allowed for 3 churches to be built. It's nice that they've kept the original doorways and things. Allowed for these churches to be built and money to be set aside. Now St Mary's cost £13,000, which was about 1.2 million today. In 2021, I think the value of that. This one was more expensive. This cost £15,000, and actually it's 5 years older. This one was built in 1825, so it's 5 years older than St Mary's, but it is one of the 3 triplet churches, I suppose, for want of a better phrase, because they're not twins. However, they are surviving twins because, unfortunately, St Philip's that was in Netherthorpe was badly damaged, and in the end it was pulled down and demolished in 1951. We're just going to have a scoot round. There's some surviving graves, but I've got a feeling that they have been deconsecrated and are here just as landscape, to be fair. But the building itself is in much better repair. Well, not much better repair. It's been sandblasted and it looks very tidy. And as would you expect from a place that is now not only a lecture theatre but a living space for university students, so people can actually live in this place and have their own apartments. And to give you an idea of the view, that's the view over the road one way, a busy road that way going into town, and that's the view on this side, which I think is another stunning building. We'll have a look at that in a minute as I walk further down to see what that is. But it faces the church and the grounds are big, much bigger. Because it's so far out of town, they've retained more grounds, or more bigger grounds, than St Mary's did. And as I say, it's a five-year older church, but no longer consecrated and no longer a working church, but actually a place where I know there's a lecture theatre in it, and I know it had the capacity of about 380. This is the back, which is much easier to see, much easier to see than St Mary's because of the amount of space that we had around it. But this is the church here at the back. And the interesting thing is, right at the top, and I'm going to go back to the clock tower bit. In fact, hold on. Let's go have a look at this building here, because it's impressive and it will have been built around the same time. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It is definitely part of the university now, but what it was originally done for, it says Sir Frederick Hoy's building, something like that it says. We'll have a look another time though, but in fact there's some information on there. I might have a look at that just to see, but let me just come out of the of the church grounds, so to speak. Obviously it fell into disrepair, and it was, I think it was decommissioned in the 80s, and then basically it was left as a building that was just out of use. It was left as a building that was out of use in the 90s, and I think the university bought it in 1994 and decided to turn it into something more useful. It's very well lit in the evening. I'd like to come over in the evening and have a look at it as well. It's the Frederick Mapping building behind me. It's very well lit, but the thing is that I want to show you really was the top bit. At the top of this tower, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So here in 2004, the university added nesting boxes, because it turns out that there are peregrine falcons nesting in that top tower, and I think there's a webcam that you can access to see them. So the nesting peregrine falcons are in there, and it's a big site. As you can see, it's quite a large area. You'll hear a lot of noise. It's a one-way street, and we are still quite close over to town. But yeah, it has, and like we talked about modern technology and the things, the diamond building is the one that's over that side. Behind it, I think you can just see that in the background. That gives you an idea of that building. But this is the twin. This is the twin building. And that's it, guys. That's St George's. Second one, the one of Portobello. I thought Portobello was London, but it turns out it is actually Sheffield. It turns out it is actually Sheffield. And that's it. So guys, I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll sign off on that one, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.